to my Read Aloud series. In continuation, we are doing from Indian Economic Development, textbook for class 11, unit 3, current challenges facing the Indian economy, and of that we are doing chapter 8, that is infrastructure, and that we are doing energy. Energy. Why do we need energy? In what forms is it available? Energy is a critical aspect of the development process of a nation. It is, of course, essential for industries. Now, it is used on a large scale in agriculture and related areas like production and transportation of fertilizers, pesticides, and farm equipment. It is required in houses for cooking, household lighting, and heating. Can you think of producing a commodity or service without using energy? Sources of energy. There are commercial and non-commercial sources of energy. Commercial sources are coal, petroleum, and electricity as they are bought and sold. Non-commercial sources of energy are firewood, agricultural waste, and dried dung. These are non-commercial as they are found in nature or forests. While commercial sources of energy are generally exhaustible with the exception of hydropower, non-commercial sources are generally renewable. More than 60% of Indian households depend on traditional sources of energy for meeting their regular cooking and heating needs. So the subheading is non-conventional sources of energy. Both commercial and non-commercial sources of energy are known as conventional sources of energy. There are three other sources of energy which are commonly termed as non-conventional sources: solar energy, wind energy, and tidal power. Being a tropical country, India has almost unlimited potential for producing all three types of energy. If some appropriate cost-effective technologies that are already available are used, even cheaper technologies can be developed. Here you can see fuel wood. It is the major source of energy. Figure 8.7 shows windmill, wind energy, another source of generating power. Look at that. These are the windmills. So figure 8.8 shows solar energy that has great prospects. Look at this. These are the panels. They are also put up on the roofs of many house or building nowadays. So if we see the consumption pattern of the commercial energy in India, commercial energy consumption makes up for 74% of the total energy consumed in India. This includes coal. It has coal, share of 54%, as you can see. Then you have followed by oil. Oil has 33% and natural gas at 9%. And hydro energy is for 3%. So this is how, that's the breakup. Okay, non-commercial sources, these are the non-commercial sources. Non-commercial energy sources consisting of firewood, cow dung, and agricultural waste account for how much? 26% of the total energy consumption. This critical feature of India's energy sector. The critical feature of India's energy sector and its linkages to the economy is the import dependence on crude and petroleum products, which is likely to grow rapidly in the near future. So this is how you can see the breakup. Commercial energy 74%, non-commercial 26%. Okay. Now let us study this table 8.2, in which the trends, the sectoral pattern of consumption of commercial energy is given. Now look at the transport sector. Transport sector was the largest consumer of commercial energy in 53-54. All right. However, there has been continuous fall in the share of transport sector, while the shares of household, agriculture, industrial sectors, as you see over the years, have been increasing. and the transport sector has actually decreased in 2012-2013. Okay, and out of the share of oil and gas is highest among all commercial energy consumption. So, with the rapid rate of economic growth, there has been a corresponding increase in the use of energy. Okay, is that right? So, footnote of the table, you know from where it has taken the source. 9th 5-year plan, Volume 2, Chapter 6, Planning Commission, Government of India, New Delhi, and Growth of Electricity Sector in India from 1947 to 2013. Central Electricity Authority, Ministry of Power, Government of India. Okay, now we come to the next one. Power electricity, the most visible form of energy which is often identified with progress in modern civilization, is power, commonly called electricity. It is a critical component of infrastructure that determines the economic development of a country. The growth rate of demand for power is generally higher than the GDP growth rate. Studies point that in order to have 8% GDP growth per annum, power supply needs to grow around 12% annually in India. In 2011-12, thermal sources accounted for 68% of the power generation capacity. Hydel and wind power accounted for 18%, while nuclear power accounted only for 2%. India's energy policy encourages two energy sources, hydel and wind, as they do not rely on fossil fuel and hence avoid carbon emissions. Yet, this has not resulted in faster growth of electricity produced from these two sources. Okay, so quickly let's have a look at this table in which whatever I've read, you can just see for yourself. In this pie chart, you can see different sources of electricity generated in India from which source. So for thermal is 68%, is that clear? Nuclear is merely 2%, a lot of potential here. Others it's 12%, and hydro and wind power is 18%. So source of electricity generated from hydro and wind power is 18%. So it says that though atomic energy is an important source of electric power, it has economic advantages. The nuclear energy accounts at present only 2% of total energy consumption against a global average of 13%. This is far too low. Hence, some scholars suggest to generate more electricity through atomic, that is nuclear sources, and yet a few others object about it from the viewpoint of environment and sustainable development. What do you think?